Hello everyone, today I will show how to set up the eBGP neighbor by the virtual vSpirent. And at this demo, I will set up the SRMPS backbone by the Cisco 8000 router and set up the 6PE function. At the virtual vSpirent, I will send the 20 IPv4 BGP route and 20 IPv6 BGP route, and then send the traffic between the route. Okay, let me start. Let me set up the IDP neighbor at first. Okay, the ECC neighbor is up. Let me enable the iBGP neighbor at backbone and enable the 6PE function. At this part configuration, and you can check these two commands, allocate label all and address family IPv6 label in unicast. And two commands will enable the 6PE and let the IPv6 route by the loopback for next hop. Okay, the neighbor is up. Let me enable IPv4 and IPv6 eBGP neighbor between the P and the virtual vSpirent. And at this part configuration, and you can see I use the 4 subinterface for 2 IPv4 and 2 IPv6. And then set up the 4 neighbor, 2 IPv4 neighbor and 2 IPv6 neighbor. We can commit. So you can see all neighbor is idle because I haven't configured the virtual vSpirent. Let me configure the virtual vSpirent. And for virtual vSpirent, we can set up the virtual license server in this part. And I had configured the license server. I will ignore this part. We use the port 1 and port 2 for the demo. Let me set up the IPv4 device at first. And we enable the VLAN. There is 2 VLAN. Begin from the 11. Okay, so 2 device is okay. VLAN is 11 and 12. Let we finish. And then we set up the root. For this part is IPv4. We will set up the 20 rows. Prefixes. Root is okay. Let we check the root. Ten rows. And network is from this to this. It's normal, okay. And let we set up the IPv6 device and BGP. Okay, now VLAN ID and device interface is okay. Let's finish. And send the IPv6 eBGP rules. Let we check the IPv6 rows. It's okay. Let we start the old device. We can change the result view by the BGP. The old BGP is enabled and established. Okay. The old eBGP neighbor is up. 20 root for IPv4 and for IPv6. That we use the same procedure to set up the eBGP neighbor for another P and the virtual vSpirent. Okay, all eBGP neighbor is okay for IPv6 and IPv4. You can check the IPv6 neighbor, and you can see the address used the loopback for the next hop. That is normal. Let me show Steve. This is next hop, 6PE format. Let me start traffic. You can set up the IPv4 traffic, and direction is bidirectional. And endpoint mapping is 1-to-1. And port 1, BGP, and connect port 2, BGP. Okay, the IPv4 is set up, but you can see the ARC's port name is N/A. That due to the ARP is not resolved, and you can check ARP status is unresolved. We can send the ARP. It's resolved. It's resolved. Okay, we set up the IPv6 traffic bidirectional. And port 1 BGP connect with port 2 BGP. We can check the traffic information by the edit. Here, have the preview, and we can check that is 2 directional. And each directional have the 10 streams. So total have the 20 streams. We can check the IPv6. that should seem. Okay, let me start the traffic. ARP status is resolved. Send traffic. We can check from the port 1 to port 2. And for IPv6 and IPv4 should total have the 40 streams. All streams is okay. And TX count equal with the args count. Okay, let me check from port 2 to port 1. You can see that same. All stream counter is equal. Let's check the packet information, and we capture at this port. After capture, we can check the packet from the port 2 to port 1. We take the IPv4 example and IPv6 example. This is IPv4 example that is back-to-back connect. So the top label has popped. There's no any label after receive from the port 2 to port 1. And we can check the IPv6. And we can check the IPv6 have the one label that is 6PE label. So the top label has popped. So only have the one label. After the packet arrives the 8000, and we'll remove this label and forward to the port 1.